before. Graphically novel, but the same old trouble. Villains always knocking at the door. Pretty pictures on the page, but nothing ever stays the same.
Thank you, Vandello, and welcome once again to Graphically Novel. My name is Josh Wasta, a.k.a. Fallout Fieri, and with me, who won't shut the fuck up,
has already annoyed the shit out of him before the episode even started.
My corpse-based disease.
Wow.
My babies are the sweetest meat. Hit the bear.
Wow. I'm not sure how to feel about that, but
in that case, you're Chris Evans, so
okay, that's fine. I can deal with that. And with us, as always, our hospitality, the lovely and talented Miss Jennifer Howland.
Put your arm outside, Rain. Thank you, Bear. And I have the distinct pleasure to introduce our guest. And today we have a returning guest, Jason Miller. Thank you.
Three-peat.
that's right. There is talk that Bear is going to buy people jackets.
Wait. Suddenly I'm buying the jacket?
Well, you're the one that brought up the jacket?
No, he's the one who brought up the jacket.
Oh, well, then Jen's buying the jacket.
Okay.
Hello, and thank you for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. We are so glad to have you here.
I'd like to add a couple things right off the get-go. I love your guys' intros. Also, love them. And Bear, Muad'Dib, how are you doing? Throw that right out there.
His name is the killing word.
It's coming. It's coming. What we got? October. I'm gonna buy a damn theater. And if my friends want to show up and watch the movie, they can show up and watch the movie with me. If they don't want to show up, I'll buy an entire theater just to sit in it by myself.
There we go. However, Dune is not our subject today.
Maybe a bonus episode.
We will be talking about Snowpiercer, the French graphic novel, the movie with Chris Evans, and the first season of the show on TNT. Jay, were you familiar with this property at all before we tagged you up and said, hey, Snowpiercer?
Oh, yeah. I remember back in 2013, I believe it was. Let me double check.
The 4 times.
Yeah, 4 times. Yeah, 2013 when it came out. And there was because I always liked the hosts with Bong Joon-ho, the director that directed Snowpiercer. Mm-hmm. I did not know it was a graphic novel, so I did not know it was until you guys did approach about doing Snowpiercer. I was like, wait a second, that's a graphic novel? So that was news to me of 2021 fame. But 2013, I took to the high seas to see it because I forget where I read about it, but I was like enthralled, or not enthralled. I was so curious about the premise of this movie. And so
awesome.
Where were you in 1982?
1982, I was begging my mom probably to buy me parachute pants because I was in middle school.
You were looking for parachute pants, and this graphic novel, this comic was just starting to come out in France of all places.
Yeah. This is one of the most popular French graphic novels of all time.
Oh yeah, news to me, complete.
Yeah, well, and also our first French graphic novel.
Our first French graphic novel. There was actually a documentary based off of this comic book series that was big in Europe. The documentary came out in, it's around here somewhere. Where did I find that at? I had the information. I lost the information. First, this digital world we live in. Nope, it's gone. I want to say that the documentary came out in 2013, about the same time the graphic novel first got reprinted as a graphic, or, the comics got printed as a graphic novel.
Cool. So let's start with the movie. I have read a synopsis. We tried to start the movie multiple times and did not actually get through it, but we did get through the TV show. But all 3 of these are markedly different.
Different storylines, different endings. Yeah. Well, this series is still going.
Right.
I've only seen the first season. There's 2 seasons currently out.
Right. Is it just 2? I thought they were working on the 3rd, or they were releasing the 3rd.
Last I knew, there are 2 seasons currently out. You can watch the first season on either HBO or Prime, but the 2nd season was only on Prime.
Okay. That would make sense.
And season 3 is in production.
Okay. There we go. But yeah, the movie, the premise, and everything that I read, I do need to go and see it because I do like different interpretations of things. But I will go with Bear and Jay as the people who did watch the movie. What did you think as far as the interpretation?
Let's start with Jay.
Oh, I liked it. I loved it. Are you talking about interpretation as far as how they interpreted it from the graphic novel, or
Yes.
just as a straight up?
No.
Well, yeah. The interpretation, I think, it can't really be made other than they're on a train. Yeah, post-apocalyptic dystopian, but it's apples and oranges. I mean, we're in my opinion. The ending of that's right. We don't do spoilers on the comic, right?
Right.
Okay.
But we will say the ending of the comic is very French and leave it.
Yeah, yeah. But the ending of the movie is also complete. It's similar.
It's very American.
In it,
Right,
yeah,
because there's hope because they see
life affirming at the end, even though it's that life affirming. That last scene of the polar bear is completely, the fact that only two people survived the train crash.
Right.
To see that, hey, there is life on the planet now. So, yeah, spoiler.
Nature is healing.
Yeah, nature finds a way.
I mean, there are several differences. There's a lot of similarities. You're going to see a lot of stuff that is obviously the whole point of this, based from the graphic novel, is we are moving to the front of the train.
Yeah.
We gotta find. We're starting at ground level, and I think it's kind of. I think the reason why it was so hugely popular was because it was a movement that everybody could relate to. You're starting off with the people in the tale that is literally poverty. They have nothing.
I think it's even below poverty. We're talking.
It's
Even below slave labor. It's
the graphic novel is worse than either the series or the movie says. The life in the tale is way worse in the graphic novel than it is in either the movie or the series.
Yeah, out of the three, the series was actually very nice.
For the people in the tale?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was basically like everybody's living in like bunks stacked on top of each other, but you still got room to like walk around.
Right.
I mean, that's the best scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, nice is
out of the
way to
three.
put it. I mean, in the TV series, the hospitality or the military or whoever made the decision, they were basically they were using birth control, like they were forced birth control in the tale to keep the population at minimum.
I mean, because you're literally on top of each other, so why wouldn't you be on top of each other?
Right. Well, and recruiting. Yeah. The best and the brightest from the tale might have a future on a train.
Yeah.
But
honestly, I think that's a really good analogy for life. Like the series makes it a really good analogy for life in this country right now.
Oh, absolutely. No, that's the first thing that drew me actually into the very beginning of the comic. Was that it very quickly identifies a class system. They just really expand on that in the series because you have enough adequate time.
Yeah.
Snowpiercer, the movie, at least from, again, what I read, I still have not watched it, but is more of a battle from the back of the train to the front of the train. So it's action moving things forward. Whereas
it's like a video game almost.
Whereas the series is a lot more nuanced, and it takes those breaths to see there is a difference between second and first and third and first, and like what the different levels of the train are based on the socioeconomic stature of the people that were getting on it. Also, they had more time to prepare in the series because in the comic it is not global warming that causes people to need to board the train,
but it is still an experiment,
right?
It
is still something that
essentially, like, I don't know what else to call it. We're going to call it nuclear winter.
Yeah,
it's not really nuclear winter, but it's as close as you're going to get.
Right,
the same effects.
Right, but the in that everybody rushed to the train and had to get on it. Like there was no ticketing, there was no pre-planning for it in the series. And again, I don't know the movie, but in the series, people had basically seen that it was coming for a while, and the rich had pre-booked their apocalypse experience.
Well, but in the series, that was a really big point. Was Wilford was profiting or trying to profit off of people's desperation to survive.
in a society that in what he knew. That's my only what's the phrase I'm looking for? Broke my suspension of disbelief.
Yeah.
Because we know now that this is going to happen. We have to get all these people on here. He charged them a mint to get into first class. He charged them slightly less than a mint to get into second class. He charged them probably whatever they had left of their lives
to work in third class.
And then knew somewhere in the back of his head that we were going to have a pool of genetic material to draw from sooner or later, and loaded as many people as he possibly could into the tail. I don't think the first season covers that of the TV series.
It has not.
No, there was a conversation about how people with tickets were trying to board, and that some people who bought tickets didn't make it on the train because people forced their way onto the train, and those were the tailies.
Those were the
tailies.
Yeah.
So there was a super brief explanation.
But that's the thing that I don't understand. I guess I just don't understand dragons in general. When you have a hoard of gold,
right? What good is it going to do you?
What good is going to fucking do you when the world melts down and the only people that are left are the people on the 1001 cars long?
Right.
Well, in the series, Melanie, the faux Waylon, she says specifically she took it over because Waylon, Wilford. Sorry, where am I getting Waylon? Oh, I'm getting Waylon from Aliens. Anyway, Wilford was going to turn it into like basically a sex pleasure.
It was a pleasure cruise. We're gonna ride this until we die, but we know we're gonna die here.
Yeah, right. So I and that's why she took it from him. So I think that it might have been kind of, it was originally built with that intent. So I don't think it would even have supported the tailies are obviously the unknown variable.
Well, and that little bit where she says that is actually a nod to the comic, because there is a certain section of the train that is what it is. Yeah. It's a fuck fest.
In the series, in the graphic novel, you don't really come across that, but you also get and small spoiler, I also got the impression from the graphic novel that travel between cars, unless you came from the tail specifically, is actually a lot easier than it is in either the series or the movie.
Yeah, they didn't really differentiate entirely between first and second. They mentioned them. And at one point, there are certain designated areas that you cannot go into unless you have business there. There's a particular scene that if you are squeamish about meat,
I forgot about that scene in the graphic novel. That's
if you're squeamish about things that are being eaten or things like that, you might want to skip this.
If you're a vegan, you might want to just jump right over this whole graphic novel. We love you guys, but hey, this is probably not for you.
Also, if you don't like boobs,
I was actually really entertained because this coming out in 1982 had a lot of forethought.
Yeah.
One of the other things that they brought up was about us. I'm gonna try not to spoil it as much as I can, but was about a Star Wars movie. And holy cow, you guessed that, 1982?
Yeah. Yep.
And the meat thing. It's a thing now. You guessed that in 1982? Holy shit.
Yeah.
The French were good at this.
Well, and also the forethought in making a plot like that very easily was tweaked 20, 30, 31
almost 40 years ago.
No, later.
Oh, sorry. You're talking about the movie. Yeah. As opposed to now. Okay.
Right. To take something like this and didn't have to move the dial very far,
right?
On what happens to end the world and away we go.
And the classism and the racism.
Yep.
And everything else.
Yep.
Did not have to go far. And this was a comic book written 40 years ago.
Right. Jay, anything else on the show?
On the show?
Yeah.
Well, I only saw season 1.
Right,
so I haven't seen season
That's
2.
all we covered. That's all we covered.
Okay.
Bears ruining things for season 2, but that's
I haven't actually seen season 2.
Oh, okay.
I'm literally just talking about the graphic novel, the movie, and the first season. This is all very poignant for today.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
Absolutely.
I haven't seen season 2 yet. I want to see season 2, but I don't have Prime.
Well, you might be watching season 2 then. I want to see season 2.
I didn't really, the whole first, second, third class and tailies, found the I don't want to right because I series. I think I like the movie, then the series, and then the book. The series, the one thing I didn't really like is I felt the train was like the dimensions of the train seemed to fluctuate. I mean, we have a nightclub car. I mean, 1,001 cars long. We have a little subway system that you're belly crawling on, or riding that little skateboard thing. I just found the physics of the train compared to the movie a little bit wonky. Of course, I mean it's movie physics, TV physics, whatever. We're gonna chalk it up to sci-fi. But I don't, what's the time frame between the movie? Do we know the time frame between the movie and the TV show, or is it?
Well, the movie is 12 years after.
I think here's the thing is, and I noticed that too. I think they're all supposed to be just set in their own Snowpiercer style universe. I think they're all supposed to be separate timelines, but I kind of got the impression that the movie is actually one of the insurgencies that they talk about in the series.
Okay.
That's an interesting theory.
It's not, because at the end of the movie, you have Chris Evans at the head of the train.
Right.
Basically being the engineer.
Right.
Which is not how any of it works in the series.
Right.
But it kind of had that kind of feel to me a little bit.
So the movie, I believe, is supposed to be 12 years after the world-ending event.
Is it 12 years to 20 years?
I want to say 12.
I want to say 12 because the TV show is 7.
Yes, the TV show is 7.
And I just kind of want to touch on what you were talking about, Jay, about the physics of the train, the size of the train.
Right.
To me, the TV show made more sense because if you're going to be living on this fucking train and it's going to have to circumvent the globe, you want it to be as wide as possible so that the chance of derailment is smaller.
17 is the movie.
Okay.
17 years after.
That's why I thought it was weird.
In the graphic novel, they have like normal European train compartments.
Yeah, that was the one that was weird.
And I was like, oh, hell no. I am not on a train for 17 years sitting facing the people that, no.
Because I watched the movie first, and that had very, similar to now sized train cars, even if you went with, cargo containers as the cars. Right. And then the graphic novel, well, then I watched the series, and obviously everything was wider. You don't fit that scene in the kind of theater area.
Right.
You don't fit that on a normal train car, right. At least not in this country.
No, not in any country. But I think that, in my head, this is the justification that I had, is that you want it to have a wider stance to prevent
tipping over when you hit the ice.
Derailment. Yeah. But the other thing is that you need to have that additional space to accommodate the hydroponic bay, the sea bay. The sea bay. You've got to have
that I gave them that for futuristic, because you're going to want to go as tall as you possibly can just for space.
And you don't have to worry about going under stuff.
Yeah. Even if you are going underneath something, there's already a cave drilled for it. So, and they actually cover that.
Yeah.
Well, they cover that in the movie. They don't really cover that in the series. I don't think, going through a cave.
No.
Did they? No.
No, but and maybe they will in the future, because again, you don't explore all of the trains or all of the compartments and all of everything in the first season. They refer to things that you still have not seen.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So they're definitely letting themselves be able to write for future seasons.
Oh, absolutely. And
there is so much. You're 1,001 well,
not anymore.
At the end of the first season, 997 cars long.
Which was brutal.
Yeah, it was less than that. Yeah, because the beginning of every episode is 1,001 cars long, and after that episode, 997 cars long.
Yeah, when I saw the title of that episode, and I was like 997 cars long, I was like, oh fuck, some shit gonna go down.
Yeah, that and that was a brutal episode too.
In general. I found, so we've talked about on the show a lot, brutal show.
The show that you can only watch a few episodes of it.
Right. I found this brutal, but I didn't have that issue.
You didn't have that Jessica Jones moment from back in the first season where you're 2 episodes at a time, no more.
Yeah, no, my heart can't take it.
Yeah. No, I was the same way. I was just like, I just felt dirty. I mean, I'm a dude and I felt dirty than just watching Jessica Jones.
Yeah, but Snowpiercer was just more fascinating is not the right word, but
No, it's fascinating.
It's like a train wreck, but
Yes.
but yeah, I just it really did a good job pulling me in. I was extremely interested in the story, you know.
The acting.
Oh, well, David Diggs,
So
first of all.
amazing. Yeah. David Diggs, Jennifer Connelly.
Yeah.
How do you go wrong?
Yeah,
Yes, there was a Hulk movie. Had Jennifer Connelly in it.
there was.
Still good.
Yeah.
And the supporting cast too. You know, there were a lot of
Oh my
actors
God.
that I didn't know before that show
Yeah.
that did a freaking amazing job.
Yeah. Oh, now I'm gonna have to look it up at the.
You're gonna have to pull out the D.
I'm going to have to pull out the D.
excuse me while I whip this out.
Why don't you say pull up the D rather than pull out?
I mean, whether it's
'Cause it's
up
less
or
fun.
because one sounds like you're already in the middle of it, as opposed to I'm just gonna start.
It's true. Oh, what is the name of this guy?
Jen just shakes her head and pours her beer.
Mike O'Malley. He's the guy that played Roche.
Yeah.
Now I see him in like everything. Like he'll pop up and I'll be like, yeah.
The guy from Snowpiercer. No, he was in several
Played
things before that.
the daughter, the psychopath.
And then Annalise
Oh.
Basso.
Yeah.
God, she was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, a fantastic sociopath.
Yeah.
A fantastic example of a lot of the characters that kind of try and fail at other things. I am rich, and so I grew up like not caring about people.
But it was beyond
I
that.
have zero empathy for anyone because I don't have to.
Right. And it was made clear in the TV series why he was the way she was, because
Yeah.
her parents literally made her that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and
And then she had the enabler that was, wasn't the actual, like, in the end, I guess she was the serial killer.
yeah, I mean, she
He was
used
just-
other people to kill people as her
Yeah.
instrument.
Yeah.
Right.
But yes, at the end
Yeah,
of the
he was
day-
just the guard was just a willing instrument.
Mhm.
Yes. Yeah. And it reminded me a lot of something that's always, for some reason, stuck with me from my Vampire the Masquerade days. But there's a family of Italian vampires that are the Giovanni. But the idea is they grow up in opulence, and they grow up even before they are embraced as vampires. And they grow up in opulence, and basically there's just so much incest and murder and all of these horrible things, because when you can do anything, the taboo is the only thing left that
Yeah.
provides any sort of challenge or
That's why we have these conversations with friends that are like my what's the word I'm looking for, my guilt-free power fantasy is just helping everyone be better,
Right.
as opposed to I have to, like, in the video game, it's like video games are a great example. Am I going to go through and literally kill everyone because I can?
right.
Because my guilt-free power trip is I can kill everyone and there's no consequences?
Right.
Or is my guilt-free power trip, hey, I can help all of these people?
Right. Yeah, it's just and it was fascinating because there are elements of the different ways that First Class is the bad guy.
Yeah, it's such a complicated series, and that's the reason why I love it.
Well, and not just in the series. I'm also talking about it in the movie and in the graphic novel. Like, First Class is not. No one from First Class is the hero.
No.
In any of.
I kind of look at it as like bites. How big of a bite do you want to take out of a moral dilemma?
Right.
Do you want to take just a little bite? Go watch the movie.
Yeah.
You want to take a little bit bigger bite? Go read the first graphic novel. Do you want to sit down and enjoy all the subtle intricacies and nuances of moral dilemma that life has to offer you? Well, HBO has a series for that.
TNT.
Well, TNT, HBO, Prime, it's on a lot of different things.
Well, no, TNT is what put it out, though.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just saying the only things I could find it streaming on currently were HBO and Prime. First season 8.
Artie likes beer.
Yes, she does.
I mean, you guys touched on several different little aspects of it. One, we're looking at a society where literally, it doesn't quite mirror today's society where the rich have no rules, but it's goddamn close. I mean, the rich.
Yeah, no, this threw back a lot of ways to Epstein.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. The rich have no rules. They have no, and the rich are I mean, look at what's her name, Annalise Basso, LJ Folger, is that her character's name?
Yes, LJ is the character's name.
Yeah, she as a serial killer,
Layla Jr.
that used other people as her instrument. I don't want to say, is that a metaphor? The rich using the world as, but that's kind of hokey to say that, but I mean, she can do that.
With zero consequences when push came to shove.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. The only person I find distasteful in the series, not as I want them, I don't like the actor. I think all the actors are brilliant. But the one person I hope she dies, because I think she represents the MAGAs. She's part of hospitality, and she's you know where I'm going with, Jen, don't you?
The second in command.
Yeah, she is. I mean, that last scene
she's a bootlicker.
Oh God, yes.
Well, she believes in something because she needs to believe in it, and then she wills it to be true because she needs to believe that this thing she's created, this construct, she needs it to be true because it's the only thing that keeps her from fucking losing her mind.
Well,
I mean, she even says that. She's like, if this isn't true, none of this is worth it.
And in a show at the end of the day about socioeconomics, it's a brilliant way to represent zealotry, which is always something, because they don't really get into religion except the religion of Wilford.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And so it's a great way, without offending the hell out of a bunch of different people that have religions in the real world, to show the danger of belief without question or belief without limit.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, to touch on it too, the religion aspect. I mean, they cross themselves with the W. I mean, that was in the first episode. I'm like, what? That's not in the movie. Was there anything in the comic like that? Did it touch on religion in the comic? I don't.
Yes, very slightly. There was actually an entire car full of people that literally worshipped Saint Loco.
Yep.
Yeah.
And everybody to one extent or another mentions Saint Loco.
Yeah.
In the graphic novel.
Yeah.
But there is, spoiler alert, an entire graphic novel, or an entire car of people that are just literally there praying.
Yeah, they are the train church.
Mm-hmm.
And before we go any further, because I do want to bring this up, a lot of times we fantasy cast or whatever, and we always talk about how we never know the newest upcoming younger actors.
Right. And they're all here.
The kid that played Miles.
Yeah.
Jalen Fletcher.
So good.
Oh my God. Just blew me away in the scenes that he was in. And I can't wait to see more from him.
The entire cast of this series is there's very few superstars.
Right.
Like even I don't
Sean Bean?
Well,
he's coming in season 2.
Yeah, I was about to say he wasn't in any of the first season.
Yeah, he's season 2. He is actually playing or supposed to be playing
Mr. Wolford.
Yeah, Mr. Wolford.
Yeah. Well, I think that getting back to talking about the actor that played Miles and kind of the socioeconomic juxtaposition within the TV series, they did such a great job of having Miles and LJ, and how this privileged young woman could not behave like an adult when she absolutely needed to.
Right.
And then this child who is, I'm not sure what the age difference is supposed to be, but I feel like LJ is supposed to be
much older,
late teens.
Yeah.
But Miles, it has the gravitas of an much, much older person.
Yes.
He's the linchpin of the revolution.
Yeah.
And not only do you have to have an actor that can, portray that, they have to understand what and Miles had so many facial expressions and non-verbals, which just blew me away when I wasn't in the moment, when I was just looking at this to look at the acting, I wanted to just be watching it and going back and immersing myself in it again, because it was such a great performance.
This is already one of the series that I'm just gonna rewatch and rewatch.
Yeah.
And rewatch. I'm trying to find.
Well, and I mean, not a superstar, but one of the main reasons that it piqued my interest to watch the TV show is Daveed Diggs. Anything I've seen him in since I became aware of him in Hamilton, he has done such a great job. He was in The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
She was amazing in The Unbreakable
And
Kimmy
I
Schmidt.
mean, he can do comedy, he can do drama, he can do fiction. He's just such a great, just really versatile actor. Super easy on the eyes.
Yeah, well, that didn't hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they don't shy away from the sex scenes either in any of the movie, the TV series, or the graphic novel.
He was in Velvet Buzzsaw.
Yeah, he was in a lot of Blackish too. But yeah, super cool actor. I'm glad he's getting more work, especially after Hamilton blew up. And he is just phenomenal. But yeah, absolutely. And even in interviews I've seen him in, he is always he's very quick. He's very witty. Mm-hmm. Great sense of humor. I don't know. It's just one of those.
Does an amazing job as the detective that he's supposed to be.
Right.
Yeah.
I also thought that was a brilliant take on the graphic novel of, hey, we're going to bring somebody up from the tail to solve this problem. Yes, they manufactured a plot line that didn't exist in the graphic novel to do this, but they still pulled somebody up from the tail for reasons.
Right.
Which was a thing that happened in the graphic novel.
Well,
right. But also murder mystery.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love a fucking murder
Let's
mystery?
get you involved.
A murder
in the
mystery
murder
on a
mystery.
train?
Yeah.
Yes.
But the other thing that I thought they did that was interesting about the TV series is that it really very quickly highlighted the fact that even though people were like, oh, you're a tailie, or you're this, or you're that,
Tail fucker.
that the people in each of these areas, each class, were beyond what their class denoted. They made that very clear. Like, okay, you're a tailie, and according to everyone higher on the train, tailies aren't worth anything, but obviously they are. Like, there are some people who have intelligence. There are people who have experience that you might need.
Yeah, because let me tell you something. With the billions and billions of dollars that went into first class, not a goddamn one of them is going to
Does
able to
anything.
handle. Yeah, they
It's
don't.
the cards.
They don't have any skills.
Right.
To work with people.
Right.
Right.
Almost like CEOs.
Right.
Well, they also are breaking all of the rules that they paid to have put in place. Like, they brought guns on board.
Right.
They weren't supposed to do that.
Yeah, it's again, it goes back to the word fascinating. If you really are interested in socioeconomics and sociology, I can't think of a better show to watch.
That, and if you're just interested in a good story, it's a great story. I'm curious as to why.
Cultural anthropology.
Why? I mean, it just. You say you haven't seen the film. Is it because you just found it not interesting, or you just haven't had time? What?
So we watched the series, and we don't generally, binge things anymore. So it took us a couple months to get through the series, taking breaks and things like that. At that point, I think the night that we finished the series, I went to pop on the movie, and not only was it late and
Just a little overload at that point.
Yeah, well, at that point, I started it, and I'm like, you know what? A, I'm tired, but B, I don't have room for another interpretation of this yet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still working over what was in the series, And then I read the comic.
Still processing.
Right. And then I read the comic, and I'm like, okay, this is yet another interpretation of this, but they're very different. And I just didn't make enough time for myself to leave a third,
listen, if you've got time though, like the acting in the movie, like I said, and it is the small bite out of all of this because it's roughly 2 hours out of your time.
Right.
And the cast on the movie are the superstars, are the top
Tilda
bills.
Swinton, love her.
Chris Evans, Jamie Bell, Tilda Swinton, Ed Harris, John Hurt.
Mm-hmm.
John Hurt,
Octavia Spencer, Ewan Bremer.
Yeah.
Like all of these people like
Does
Allison
Octavia
Hill, if you are a fan of Newsroom.
does Octavia Spencer play the second in command of hospitality in the movie?
I believe that is her role in that movie.
Oh, that would be so good between Tilda Swinton and the two of them. Like, I am getting chills thinking about that.
Right?
Yeah, I do want to see this movie.
I gotta pull it back. It's been a while because I watched the movie first, right after.
Sorry, he had to adjust the D.
Well, guys have to do that occasionally.
It's true.
Here's some of the things I like about
Do you really? Do you have to? Or
Sometimes,
do you just
yes.
feel the need?
a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Thank you for your honesty, Jay.
Imagine if your ovaries were outside your body and occasionally stuck to your leg.
That's not the D. That's your ball.
or chafed, or
Here, the movie.
I'm sorry that you were imperfectly made.
I work a manual labor job, and there's a lot of chafing that happens. So
Well.
Like the CEO toys.
Wait, I can do that?
No,
you go right ahead. I will video.
do not video my balls, please.
Stay tuned for my Twitch stream. Technically, it'll be Josh that's twitching.
I was about to say, stay tuned for just me.
So if I just do this, that toy.
Yep, that one. You can do that. I'm fine with that. You go right ahead, Jen. I love you.
I'm over 40, so I have that thing where I can use them as bolos.
Tune in next time for our review of Puppetry of the Penis.
Penisry, if you will.
It's
The Penis Podcast. But in the movie,
remember the vagina monologues? Well,
Yeah.
Josh's testicles monologues.
they had a scene in the movie that I'm gonna beat this back on track. But train bonds, gotta love
Here
them.
it comes.
There was a scene in the movie. It's arguably, I really like the director. I love Korean films anyway.
Mhm.
But there's a scene where the fight scene between the tailies and the soldiers, where they go into a tunnel, and the soldiers, you could see, they all put on night vision glasses, and it's just a brilliant scene. And I'm actually looking on the D right now, and it's talking about, in that scene, there was no additional lighting filmed for it. So it's all the lighting that the actors only had. So it's a beautifully shot.
I was also really entertained by that scene personally because when you see the soldiers standing there with melee weapons, their night vision goggles, and all you can see is it's a very Batman-like cowl without the ears.
Yeah.
Reminded me a little bit of Batman, reminded me a lot of like Lord of the Rings. Like, these are blathering orcs, because most of them actually, when you looked at their faces, these were like, they cast a lot of like chubby dudes, dad bod dudes, heavyset dudes. Like, there's a lot of those guys in there that just have big ass melee weapons. And my image in my head still of this, and I'm not sure if it's 100% accurate because there's been beer involved, is that these guys were almost slathering at the mouth with, waiting for the tunnel to hit and then just to go batshit crazy on these tailies that are trying to revolt.
No, not trying up to that point. They were
Actually,
kicking ass and taking names.
They were like halfway up the train at that point.
And another great thing about that, you kind of mentioned it, is they did not want Chris Evans cast in that part as the lead because he's coming off of Captain America. So he's fit, he's buff, and he doesn't look like a tailie who eats babies.
Yeah, he really doesn't. That was one of the few things that kind of pulled me out of the movie. Was this kind of just feels like dirty Captain America?
Yeah,
a little bit.
Not like Knives Out Chris Evans.
No, Knives Out Chris Evans was like, he was just like skeezy, and I did not get Captain America vibes out of Chris Evans and Knives Out. I totally got Captain America vibes out of the Snowpiercer movie on Netflix.
Yeah, but the way they shot it, the lighting, the costuming, the angles of the cameras really did take away from it. So you did not see, Captain America running down a French train directed by a Korean director.
It took a minute. I honestly, in the beginning, I didn't pay attention to the casting list. I wasn't paying attention to any of the billing. When I watched it the first time, I was just kind of like, oh, Snowpiercer. Okay, let's watch this. And I just kind of kept going, why do I know this guy? Why do I know this guy? And it was actually probably about halfway through the movie. I think it was somewhere either that scene or right after that scene, because he finally loses the hat. And I was just like, oh shit, that's fucking Chris Evans.
Yeah. Did you guys see the whole thing about the YouTube theory, fan theory about Willy Wonka, that Snowpiercer is a sequel to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory?
No, enlighten us.
Well, basically that
Are you telling me that the protein bars are snozberries?
Wilford was Charlie Bucket, and this comedian, who was the comedian? Let me see if I can find it on YouTube. There's a comedian that did it that posited this theory, and it's like taken off. It's like got over 11 million views on YouTube. Just search Snowpiercer Willy Wonka and just.
So wait, so Wilford was the kid with the golden ticket that took over
Yes. Chocolate
Yes.
Factory.
Yes, he had the money to make the train. I should have told you guys this before we filmed today, so we could actually have talked about it. So
No, I don't think we need to.
I'm more entertained by that because it gives our listeners something to go Google too, because it's something we don't know shit about. But
yeah.
I would be interested to see how that's supposed to work, because I don't see it working.
Yeah,
The protein
I don't
bars are
either.
snozberries.
But it basically posited that the Oompa Loompas, okay, because in the movie, it's not going off the series, it's going off the movie. They took kids out of the tail section to the engine because they had little hands and they could fit inside the engine to
Yes,
basically
there was-
replace parts that could no longer be manufactured. And one of the theories is that Oompa Loompas originally had that job and stuff that I've seen it,
Wow.
but it's
I've
a stretch.
I mean, I'm already drawing too many lines for me to personally really want to go investigate this on my own. But hey, go ahead and Google it and link it to our Facebook page, because I'll definitely read that while I'm on break.
I'll look it up.
I'll be at work. Somebody will post that, and I'll be at work, and I'll be like, hey fuckers, read this shit. And
No, it's
everybody,
YouTube.
Yeah.
So it would be watch this shit.
that too. And then everybody that I work with, because I work in a mechanic shop, will be like, what's Snowpiercer?
Yeah. What do you
Yeah.
think of Willy Wonka?
Tickets to the dinner. The lucky few are pre-chosen by Wilford. Wilford is dressed exactly like Willy Wonka, top hat, jacket, and cane. Wilford removes candidates one by one like Wonka.
I do always love how the fan theories, like the speculation, is just like, well, he's wearing a top hat, jacket, and cane. I'm like, a top hat, jacket, and cane. Like lots of people, Abraham Lincoln wore that.
Baron Samedi.
Baron Samedi wore it.
It
Like,
was
you can make
men's fashion.
Wilford is Baron
Wilford
Samedi.
is the Baron.
It was fuck that. That's dumb. It was men's fashion for like over 100 years.
That's what we're getting at, is the absurdity of it.
Sorry, I just put my head.
Sorry, that's okay. We're filling you in.
Yeah. It's I forget there's a comedian that posited this theory.
We've already spent too much time on it.
No, it'll give me something to read on my break. Somebody can post it on the graphically novel page. I'll read it Tuesday when I'm sitting there at work going, I hate my life.
Yeah,
So,
he's Charlie Bucket.
So, Jason, there are 2 more of these graphic novels.
3, I thought.
No, it's 2. Well, there's a prequel series.
Yeah,
as well.
on what caused the whole.
So there are 2
issue.
more after this one. Will you continue to read this comic?
Probably not. No,
Fair?
probably not.
Read the comic. Like, I've got a lot of homework. Would it be on the list? I don't know. It's very French.
It's very, very fresh.
But I love the shit out of the series, and I will definitely, above all, I will watch this.
I'll watch the series. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care what the rest of my homework is. I will watch the rest of the series as soon as I can get my hands on it.
Jen?
Yeah.
I might try to read some more. I will definitely watch the series. And I have more. I'm more inclined to watch the movie now.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to watch the movie. Definitely going to watch the series. It goes up on my list, with Winona Earp, of things that I will definitely continue after the first season.
Wait, well, Winona Earp is not on my list of things to definitely continue.
Oh, see, it is on mine.
I put this up, this is amazing, and I put this up with, stay tuned for a future episode, Jupiter's Legacy.
Okay.
That's this was freaking amazing. Jupiter's Legacy is freaking amazing. Watch this. If you get time, I don't care if you hate Jennifer Connelly. I don't care if you have issues with, David.
First of all, if you have issues with David Diggs, I have issues with you.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah,
I don't know how you can't love that man. That man is an amazing actor.
he's a treasure.
Yes. Jennifer Connelly, I think, is a treasure, but I mean, come on, I kind of grew up with her around, so
I think she's great. I love her.
Yeah.
I've had arguments with Josh before on this.
On Jennifer Connelly?
Pretty sure.
Angelina Jolie for sure, not Jennifer Connelly.
Oh, never mind. It was just over the Hulk film.
Yes. Yes.
That's where the argument was. Apologize.
Yes. You remind Hulk of Babe. Babe with power. Power of smash.
You know, if they cast her as She-Hulk,
They didn't.
They didn't.
I know they did not, but if they did, I'll be my bug.
The quick question about our thing about, you said at the beginning of the episode about how this was a French
Yes.
graphic novel, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, 1982 was first published.
Yep.
And you said this was the first one you guys covered. Are you guys going to ever do Valerian and Loreline?
Don't know.
Listen, Valerian, I actually just saw pop up somewhere else.
I did.
And I only
too.
bring this up because it's a French. It's like the most popular French comic that I could think of.
I saw Valerian pop up somewhere else, and I'm not sure where. I'm not particularly familiar with it, but the name, as soon as you said the name, I'm like, why do I know that
Well,
name?
it was the same director that did Fifth Element.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, they say it Star Wars. It's another one of those things that Lucas ripped off for Star Wars, and so yeah,
No, it'll definitely go on the list to get voted on.
awesome.
So, Jason, thank you for three-peating.
Thank you,
Yay.
thank you,
We
thank you,
love
sir.
We miss you. We'll see you again soon, hopefully.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I need to also throw it out there. If it ever gets, for some reason, I don't know, because I don't know your guys' rules, but if Dune is ever a show, I have to be on that, and Allison has to be on it.
Sadly, I know we've already discussed this, and it's a question of, was it a graphic novel or comic book before it was a movie
Or it's or a TV.
or a TV show?
Right.
And the answer is no, because yes, they are putting out a graphic novel for Dune, but it was both a movie and a miniseries, a couple of movies and a miniseries before it was a graphic novel.
Right.
So it won't be a standard episode.
It might be in between
It
seasons.
might be between seasons. We'll see.
Yep.
And-
you might just get like an entire bonus episode of me just like sitting here going, hey, I stole Josh's recording equipment. Let me tell you about Dune. I'm going to talk about it with whoever calls in.
And that was another thing. I'm addressing the listeners, the fans. I gave shit to Josh about he should do a call-in show, and he said no. So everyone, that must be our new mantra. He must do a call-in show or voicemail show, so we can so the fans can talk back.
Oh, I'm fine with a voicemail show.
Voicemail show is good.
Yeah.
Not live.
Yeah, not live.
Not live.
No. I need to fix it in post, turn it into a cat.
Yep.
Voicemail show would be great.
Well,
So,
on that note, thank you, Jason. Everyone, please tune in next time. Actually, in 1 week from today, we were going to start releasing just graphically novel shows because Rec Conversations is wrapped up. However, our Rec Conversations finale clocked in at 4 hours and 15 minutes.
Sweet Jesus.
So it's going to be a double episode, or a two-parter. So tune in next Friday for the second part of our finale on Civil War II.
Makes me wish I wouldn't have
Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah.
Makes me wish I wouldn't have been on injured reserve last weekend. I would have loved to have seen that.
Oh yeah, it was something. And then please join us.
Josh is like, oh yeah, it was something. Jen's over here shaking her head. Like,
Yeah. She wasn't here for.
I was not. I left.
Yeah.
So she was here. She just opted to not be.
Right. And then join us in 2 weeks when we will be doing Sin City and 300.
Sin City is actually slated for season 1, or was it season 2?
2 originally.
And then got
got bumped because
got
something new and shiny came out.
Right.
You'll be like,
Like us.
we like new and shiny.
Right. So until
Yeah,
then,
Distracted
Yeah, we're
easily.
all new and shiny. Yeah, that's nice.
We get distracted easily.
Oh, okay, sorry.
well,
You were saying squirrel, and I was just like, no, we old and broken.
I was not saying we're almost at the age where we'll get parts replaced, and those will be new and shiny. Well, until then, take it away, Vandello.
Come with me, I'll tell a story that you might have heard before. Graphically novel, but the same old trouble. Villains always knocking at the door. Pretty pictures on the page, but nothing ever stays the same. I'll show you something you ain't never seen before. Right or wrong, oh can't we all just get along? My mask is no different than yours. Pretty pictures on the screen, but nothing's ever as it seems. Do 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 do. You don't want to see my bad side.
Thank you, random digital person. Sorry. I've never heard that before. I had to start some shit.